service because we had no way of getting customers. We couldn't be our own. So I get it. I want to talk about what it takes to be successful. But here's what I want to do for 1 minute. I want everybody in this room to close your eyes. Close your eyes. I got the laser up here, so you know I'm going to hit you with it. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about what your life's going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Who are you going to be spending time with? What are you going to be able to do for your loved ones? And get focused. Make it real. If there's something that you want to do, go do it. You know, my house in the mountains, I would go look at houses in the mountains. I would get on the internet. I would visualize what it was going to be like. You know how special it was this year for Christmas time? Me, Kale, and our 2 dogs with 3 feet of snow. Snowbound up. It's snowing up there right now, by the way. Guys, you've got to get focused. See, if there's not something that you want bad enough, you're going to let little things get in the way and you're going to quit. Because this is not easy. This is not fun. You're in the people business. And people will wear you out and suck out all of your energy if you let them. You guys can open up your eyes. Now the question I have is, how bad do you want it? Are you going to let little things take you out of your business? Because most people will. The biggest challenge that we have is to get people committed to something that costs so little. It's $100. You can't go to dinner for $200, but you can go out there and change millions of people's lives, including your own. And you got to know what you're doing this business for. And Coach talked about this today. I had my vision board. People can say it's corny all they want. I visualized it every day, what it was going to be like, who I was going to be spending my time with, what I was going to be able to do great things for my parents. When I would get up in the morning and go into the bathroom, there was a picture of my dream house on the mirror as I brushed my teeth. When I would go into my office, I would log on the computer and there would be a picture on the screensaver of the house I wanted to live in the mountains. And every morning, the first website I would go to would be the cameras up in Breckenridge, Colorado, looking at the mountains. And I would think about what it's going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And here's the other thing I would do. When I had a bad day and I thought about quitting Ambit and I was frustrated, I would go look at those things and think about, if I quit, how do I get to this point in my business? How do I get to that point in my life? And boy, it was a reality check. Because when there's something you want bad enough, and all of a sudden you think you can't get it, it makes the polar vortex and all these things look like small things. So you need to know why you're doing this business. What is Ambit going to do for you and your family? I thought Cherise knocked it out of the park talking about this. Because when people say, well, I don't know if I'm going to put a lot of time into this. Guys, if you're going to be a big time earner in Ambit, you're going to have to make a sacrifice. What was my sacrifice? I used to leave Hauppauge, New York on Monday morning, and I'd start driving up the New York State Thruway, stopping in Poughkeepsie, up to Albany, over to Little Falls, stopping in Utica, over to Syracuse, over to Rochester. And I'll never forget Thursday night after Thursday night after Thursday night after Thursday night after Thursday night, doing a business presentation in Rochester from 7:30 to 8:30, taking a 15-minute break, do a 6-step training from 8:45 to 9:30, and getting in the car and driving home 500 miles. And don't think there wasn't times at 3:30 in the morning when I got to the Throgs Neck Bridge 50 miles from home being exhausted, and the bridge is shut down, I'm sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic, cursing, and I can't call anybody, that I didn't think about quitting. But do you know what I thought about? The hot air balloons. Taking my mom to see the Eagles. Having my house running up to deal with that traffic. Guys, if you're going to do something big for you and your family, you're going to make sacrifices. Kurt Coran driving to Cape Cod. Coach driving all over Texas. Chad Crenshaw living in a 300 square foot room over in Japan. You know what I love about those things? Those were some of the best times. Because adversity makes you stronger and helps you build character. It also makes you appreciate what you have here. People say, why do you think you did so well in Ambit? Because coming into here, I was humbled and I was hungry. If I didn't have those other two companies, I wouldn't recognize what we had here. Just like now, I still recognize what we've got and what this can do. So you need to decide, what are you willing to give up? That's a big one. I've got people on my team I don't even want to talk to anymore because all they do is suck the energy out of you. I don't like drama. Drama's for jobs, not for businesses. If you surround yourself with the right people, Brian and Betsy McClure, Tim and Sonia Devine, Tony and Diana Procopio, Jeff Rollins, Jay Emma, I can go on and on and on and on. Those are the people I want to be around because they're not making excuses. They're getting it done and they're making it happen. So that's what you need to figure out. Who are the people that you're talking to on a daily basis? I can tell you this. When I got all the whiners and complainers calling me on a daily basis, guess what happens to my mood?
Yep.
When I'm on the phone with movers and shakers, guess what happens to my mood?
Yep.
Being with Kirk and Trish Horan and Jay and Teresa Sanborn and Anthony Coletti and Chad Crenshaw and Sean and Damien and Coach, I go on this 5-star trip and I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go build again. I'm ready to go help Eugene get the SC here in the next couple weeks. Woo! As we talked about this all day long. People say, what? I mean, the thing about Ambit, the reason I do well is I am not a techie guy. I am not real sharp. But I know if I do 3 things and do 2 of them a couple times and do one over and over and over and over, anything I want is possible. What do we do in Ambit? We gather a handful of loyal customers. You don't need to go gather 1,000. That's just showing off. My customers don't care about letters. My customers don't care about the rates. They care about helping their friend Ray out because he's always helped them out. My customers would all pay a little more, not that they need to, but they do because of me. My customers are my customers because of the relationship. Plugging into the system, being here and hearing people like Joey Carter and Ward and Jeff and Sharice and all the incredible leaders you've got to get here to listen to their struggles and what they went through to get to where they are. Because you start realizing, if you think about quit this business sometimes, that's normal. If you have bad days in Ambit, that's normal. If there's days you don't want to answer phone, that's normal. But somehow they persevere. And somehow they're up here sharing their story. And so you've got to have a plan that works. And I thought Tim did a great job. You know the key to this business? Find the right people. Surround yourself with like-minded people. And people say, well, they're not easy to find. You're right. They're not easy to find, especially if you're talking to one person a month. If you want to find the right people, you've got to increase the number of times that you're showing the business. And at some point, you'll have the luxury of people on your team putting you on 3-ways to help them find those people. Even when I'm on the road, I do 30 or 40 3-way calls a day. And one of the things that I've gotten pretty good is I can get on the phone and talk to somebody for 2 minutes and I can tell you nay or yay. People say, how do you, I just listen. People will tell you why they're going to do this business or why they're not going to do this business. People will give you excuses and say all kinds of things. I don't convince those people to do it. I'm looking for people that are looking for me. And you'll find them. Right, George Morazzo? Where's George at? George and I were in Excel together 20 years ago. And he shows up at a lunch meeting we did in Danbury, Connecticut about 3 or 4 months ago looking at Ambit. Because he knew I was in there and signed up, and he comes down here, committed to come down here, has a couple people on his business, and he just wanted a 3-hour talk with Brian. And Brian, you know what you need to tell him, right? Get my ass in front of people. But I look at things like that, I hear Renee, that was Renee Harris' laugh, wasn't it? I know that laugh. And so you got to find the right people and work them and just do it over and over and over. Now guys, here's the other thing I'll tell you. You know, when I look at Ambit, I always watch for tendencies and trends in this business. Because if I see something that's working and people are doing certain things, I'm going to try to duplicate it. And what I can tell you is there are 3 stages in this business. And there was a gentleman back in Excel that used to talk about this. And I was fascinated by it. Because here's the 3 stages. Stage 1 is, it's not worth it. Let me tell you what stage 1 is. Stage 1 is you're a brand new consultant. You've spent $100. You're going to meetings, you're going to Powertrip, you're getting on conference calls, there's negativity from a spouse, Friends and family think you lost your mind. They question why you're doing this. How many people would you say right now are in stage 1? You guys are good because nobody likes to admit this. Okay. Most people, that's good, one person. Most people that are here, I would say you're probably MCs or RCs. But one of the reasons that Ambit is so powerful is you can get out of this stage real quick. By gathering 3 customers, you've already broken even. If you get to RC, you should have a small residual income. You have the opportunity to get free energy, so you can get out of here. Just so you guys know, 90% of the people that quit Ambit, it's right here. Because they're not plugged in. They don't understand the magnitude of what we got here. They have no dreams. They have no goals. They surround themselves with negative people. That's stage 1. Most people in this room are not in stage 1 because you've already made the commitment to come here, so you see something. Here's stage 2. It's worth it. How many people in this room would say you're in stage 2? It's worth it. And I would say this is 99.9% of the way. What does that mean? Well, you've got an organization going. You've probably promoted in the compensation plan, RC, SC, EC. You're probably making a couple $100 a month, a couple $1,000 a month. You've got things going on. You've got free energy. About 10% of the people at this stage quit. Usually when people at this stage quit, it's not because of Ambit, it's because of egos. They feel like they deserve something more that they're not getting. They're not getting the recognition that they deserve. They're not doing the things that they need to do. I love when somebody calls me up from another company and says, we've got a top income earner over here from Ambit. Really? There's no top income earners that I know that ever left Ambit. There's people that come in here who get a little bit of notoriety, get one minor award, get on the cover of a magazine, and they become Ambit celebrities. They quit doing what they need to do to become successful, and all of a sudden they get bitter. And they blame Ambit rather than getting off their butts and going back to work. See, when I have a new EC on my team, the first thing I ask them is, when are you going to be NC? Because I know if people become complacent with what got them to where they are, there's a chance they won't be here a long time. The reason you get to EC is not to become an EC and be a guest on a conference call and do a testimonial and get on the cover of a magazine. The reason you get to EC is so you can take your business to the next level and make more money. How do I know that? I'll tell you how I know that. As an SC, I had a $15,000 a month in this company. As an EC, I had an $80,000 a month in this company. Because I realized it was about taking my business to the next level when I got to EC, not basking in the glory of what I accomplished. I'm pretty proud that in my EC code, 3 of my 5 ECs to get me to NC are top 50 income earners. Mike Obey, John Haas, and Kirk Horan. They also wear yellow jackets. Because Brian told me, when you get to EC, don't take off, get to work. You heard him talk about when I got to NC. It took a little bit of time because I had such a good EC group. But I realized what I had to do to the next level. Most of you in this room are right here. Most of you in this room will stay there. Because in order to get to the next level, you've got to pay a price. And most people are not willing to do it. I would be willing to bet the only people in the room that say this are probably Philip and Brian. I go back and forth sometimes. There's been months where I say that. And there's other months where I need to go work hard. The way you get to this point is you don't quit. You get promoted into compensation plan and you help everybody on your team do the same. You get to executive consultant, Jeff Rollins and Jay Emma and Renee Harris and some of the other people in this room, and then you turn it up. And you go create other leaders in your executive consultant business. Mark Alfano and some of the other people in this room that have all the potential to get to this point. But it's not easy, is it, Joey? Go ask some of these people. Because right, Chuck? Ernie and Peggy? Because when you've already had success, it's really hard to stay focused to get to the next level, knowing the price that you have to pay. But it's worth it. It's worth it. Ask Brian. Brian, is it worth it? How good is your life right now? 35 years ago, when you were sleeping on Charlie Regis' bedroom floor on the mat, did you ever think it'd be this good?
No.
Yeah.
Would you do it all over again?
Absolutely.
Do you look back at 35 years ago, were those some of the best times?
Absolutely.
I think about the first night I spent with Brian and the conversation, and it's gone full circle. And we talk about God ways, and it just, you start realizing there is a master plan. But you're part of that plan, and you've got to do your part too. And not get too low, and not get too high, and just stay level, and continue to show this business. You know, this is like a penny double. Everybody knows this. Would you rather have $1 million cash or a penny double for 31 days? And I say, anybody want the $1 million?
No.
$100 bills piled up like this? It's like your Ambit business. Guys, it's not worth it. You know, same price you pay in Ambit. You put $100 in and we're telling you, you got to go to Ambition. You got to get on these conference calls. You're doing all these things that you need to be successful, and you're not seeing much of a return. It's the same thing with that penny. I would equivalent this. I would say this is equivalent to getting to RC or SC in our business, or maybe an EC with not a whole lot going on. You're 2/3 of the way in. You're saying, man, this guy's crazy. Brian's talking about do this, and all this work, and that's all I've made. And all of a sudden, you start catching some runners in your SC code or your EC code. Now it's worth it. Think about that. You go from day 19, $2,000, to day 24, $83,000. But don't get complacent. $83,000 is a lot of money. But if you can stay focused where you are and continue to do what you do, here's the grand prize. Right there. See, I get a lot of crap when I get on the Sunday night call and Bear says, I'm an EC and you can't be too. And I say, that's great. When are you going to be an NC? and it's because I love him and I know he can and I know he can be so much better where he is. And that's not knocking what he's done. Listen, getting to EC, very few people get there. So any of you ECs, don't take that personal. I applaud you because I know the price you paid to get there. Everybody in this room. But I also know you've positioned yourself for greatness if you can stay focused for a couple more years. Which leads us to our last thing before we get you out of here. We go to Brian's Ranch and start drinking. You know, I've had, when I think about Brian, I keep going, another power trip and another power. Listen, I love all these things. I'll be honest, I think they get better. I mean, I think that the topics, the subjects, the people, and it's amazing to watch the leadership that Brian has started develop. And you know, I think I've done a bunch of breakfasts with Joey, and Joey, I mean, yesterday's breakfast, you just killed it. You crushed it. Crushed it. I mean, and so I get to watch these people develop and what they do, and it's a lot of fun. But the best part of it is to see the same people coming back and seeing their success. And so Brian taught me a long time ago, and Jeff likes to call me the promoter. Brian taught me this is an events-driven business. And so when I got involved in Excel, when I got involved in Excel, Brian taught me that. And so when I came over to Ambit, you guys will love this story. So Brian talked about recruiting me into Ambit, and Brian said, flew me down to Texas, had dinner in New York with Chris and Jerry, and I signed up October 7th of 2007 on a Sunday night. I said, all right, Brian, I'm in. What do I need to do next? He said, you need to be at Ambition, their first Ambition in Austin, Texas in 2 weeks. I was like, I can't go. He said, what do you mean you can't go? I said, well, I'm doing something with my friend Walter Hughes. We're taking Walter out for dinner. We're going to see Joel Osteen at Madison Square Garden. That was the truth. I was taking a big group to go see Joel Osteen and Walter. It was around Walter's birthday. And I said, Brian, I can't go. Now, you heard him talking about spending all this money, flying me to Dallas and all this, and I can't go. But the good thing is, Norbert Hennessy went to that first Ambition and took 3 people, total of 4. But I realized that would be the last event that I would ever miss. And what I need to do is push people and encourage people and tell them how important it is to get this event. Well, guys, that was Ambition 2007. We've had ambitions where we've had 4,000 people show up on our team. One of the reasons that Ambit's paid me over $12 million is a great company, great leadership, great mentor and upline, work extremely hard, but promoting events. Getting people around advanced information, right, Tim? And so, you know, guys, if you want to be a big-time player, you need to work hard. You need to realize you're going to have obstacles. But one of the things you need to do is you need to fill that place. And every time you go to a big event, I had a lady came up to me, Georgia, correct? And Georgia told me she came down from Pittsburgh. We were talking about her business. And I asked her what was going on. She told me she's got 5 people on her team that flew down from Pittsburgh. That's amazing. But you know what your focus is? It's to have 15 people on your team at Ambition. And then 50 at Simulcast. And then 150 at Ambition. And then 300 at Simulcast. And then 500 at Ambition. And then 1,000 at Simulcast. You know, Coach talked about 52 weeks of getting a check every week. Over the next 4.5 months, you want to be focused on getting your team registered for Ambition. It's the biggest thing that you can do to create belief in this company, belief in you, because let's be honest, what we do is not normal. People are going to deal with negativity and they're going to look for reasons to quit. Ambition gives you reasons to stay because you start realizing that this company isn't only about money. There's something special going on here with the leadership in the field and the corporate leadership. As I wrap up here, what I want to do is I want to bring Brian back up. And, you know, I get emotional thinking about some of the things that we've been through. And there's been times where he's Miyagi and I'm Ralph Macchio, I promise you, button heads. But it seems like my business kind of mirrors his business a couple years behind. And so as I'm experiencing certain things, I realize that everything he's taught me, everything he showed me is the way that he believes I should handle this business. So what I'd like to do now, I can bring him yet. Chuck, you have that? I'll put the wig on. I'm not going to stop. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get on your feet and let him know by a round of applause how much we appreciate and love him.